everyone, today I'm going to do The Sound of Music Part 1 is based on Evelyn Glennie. So she was a deaf. Rush hour crowds jostle for position on the underground train platforms. A side girl looking younger than her 17 years was nervous yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London and daunting enough for her, any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. But this aspiration musician faced a bigger challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradually. Her mother remembered noticing something was made wrong when the 8 years old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. They called her name and she did not move. I suddenly realized she had not heard it. Okay, means the time when the Evelyn Glennie was 8 years, mother had called him. She had not heard and she had not moved. Okay, so her mother think that she had not heard. Okay, his mother name is Severgreen. Okay, for quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness from friends and teachers. But by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated and her headmaster urged her parents to take her to a specialist. Means the, the time when she was 11 years, she had been gotten marks very less. So his headmaster had said to take the Evelyn Glennie to a specialist so that the person, so that you all should know that what the problem with him, with she and the girl have, because if the person who is deaf and the person can't hear any voice, how can the teacher is teaching to him and she will understand it that what the teacher is trying to say me? Huh? If she can't if she can't understand that what I am trying to say with all the people, means I would like to say that the deaf children can't understand what the teacher is trying to say because they can't hear from the ears. Okay, so the marks can get low. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. Okay, so the school had advised him to take hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. Okay, everything suddenly looked black, as Evelyn said. But Evelyn was not going to give up. She was determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. One day she noticed a girl playing a xylophone and she had been thinking that she should also play a xylophone also. Okay, most of the teachers means every teacher used to discourage him, but one teacher means his percussionist Ron Powell had said to him that don't hear from ears, but it to understand, but try to sense it some other way. Okay, this was the thing, and this was the statement which was said by the Ron Bobbitt to Evelyn Glennie. Okay, suddenly I realized I could feel the high run from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down. Okay, Bobbitt repeated the exercise, and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. I had learned to open my mind and body to sounds and vibrations. The rest of was the sheer determination and hard work. She never looked back from the point onwards. Means she had not seen his past and what has been happened with him. Okay. She toured the United Kingdom with youth orchestra. By the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. She auditioned for the Royal Academy of Music and scored one of the highest marks in the history of the Academy. She gradually moved from the orchestral work to solo performance. At the end of the 3 years course, she had captured most of the top awards, and all this Evelyn Glennie does not feel that he has achieved the heroic achievement. If you work hard and you are knowing that where you're going, you will get there. And she got right to the top, the world's most sought after multi percussionist with a mastery of thousand instruments and hectic international schedule. It is intriguing means fascinating, and curious means you can also think that fear which has the fear which has been given to Evelyn because the time when men with bushy beards gave me trouble, said Evelyn Glennie by laughing, because once upon a time one person was there and was just moving his lips and was not giving any voice. So the person was saying that read my lips. Okay, so Evelyn Glennie does not understand what the person is trying to say. Okay, so that's why the bushy beard person has scolded him. So she is saying that he had given me trouble. Hmm. Okay, she speaks flawlessly with this Scottish lilt. My speech is clear because I could hear till I was 11, she says. But that does not explain how she managed to learn French and master basic Japanese. As for music, she explains it pours in through every part of my body. It tingles in the skin, my cheekbones, and even in the hair. When she plays the xylophone, and she can sense the sound passing up the stick into her fingertips, ballooning against the drums. She can feel the resonances flowing into her body on a wooden platform. She removes her shoes so that she can feel the vibration which should be passed to his feet and his leg. Not surprisingly, Evelyn delighted her audiences. In 1991, she was presented with the Royal Philharmonic Society prestigious Soloist of the Year award. This was in 1991. She had been awarded the award, that is Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year. Okay, he his percussionist Master James Blades said that God may have taken his hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That is why she experiences music so beautifully. Okay, you, the person who can hear it, the songs, they used to practice 2 times only, but the Evelyn Glennie used to practice 50 times. Okay, Evelyn confesses that she is something of the workaholic. I have just got to work, often harder than classical musicians, but the rewards are enormous. Apart from the regular concerts, Evelyn Glennie also gives free concerts in prison and hospitals. She also gives high priority to classes for young musicians on Richland of the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children says she is a shining inspiration for the deaf children. They see that there is nowhere that they can't go. Okay. Evelyn Glennie has already accomplished more than most people twice her age. She has brought the percussionist to the front of the orchestra and demonstrated that it can be very moving. She has given inspiration to those who are handicapped people who work to her and say if she can do it, I can also do it. And not the least, she has given enormous pleasure to millions. It is the part one is written by the person Deborah Cowley. Part two is based on the Bismillah Khan. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of the musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence for because it used to give the unpleasant sounds. So one person had think that the quality of the fungi should be changed. So he had taken one hollow stem which was long and broader, and in that he had made 7 holes. When he had played, it given him soft, melodious sounds which was pleasing to his ears. Okay, so when he has played the instrument in front of the king of Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, everyone got impressed by this. So everyone had think that we should give the name for this. Okay, so it was played in Shah's chamber, and it was played by the person Nai. So the instrument name was given Shehnai. Okay, this is the history of the Shehnai. Okay, the sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious for wishing to bring good fortune, and for this reason it is still played in temples and is an indecimal component of any North Indian traditional weddings. In the past, Shehnai was the part of the normal or traditional ensemble of the 9 instruments found at royal courts. Till recently, it was used in temples and weddings only. It was the credit for this instrument it is given to the person Ustad Bismillah Khan. When Ustad Bismillah Khan was 5 years old, he used to play Gilli Danda near the pond of Fansin estate of Dhumran in Bihar. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of the which he would earn big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by the local Maharaja. Okay, this was happened 80 years ago, and the little girl has traveled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. Okay, this person has been got it. Bharat Ratna also, Padma Vibhushan also, Padma Shri also. Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, and Bharat Ratna. Can you all imagine what a such a kind of a thing he had been gotten? So he had been born on 21st March 1916. Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. His grandfather was Al Khan. So the question might become that what is the name of the Ustad Bismillah Khan's grandfather? So he will say that the name of his Ustad Bismillah Khan's grandfather is Rasal Baks Khan. Okay. So his work is to Nawaz of the Bhajpur King's court. His father, Pegamber Burks, and other paternal ancestors were also great Shehnai players. The young boy took to music in early life at the age of the 3 years when his mother took him to the Banaras where his maternal uncle used to live. So Bismillah Khan was fascinated watching his uncle practicing the Shehnai. Soon Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Baks to the Vishnu temple of Banaras where Baks was employed to play the Shehnai. Ali Baks would play the Shehnai and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours and end on it. Slowly he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day for years to come. The temple of the Balaji and Mangala Maya and the bank of the Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts were he could practice in solitude. The following um, waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Shehnai. At the age of the 16 years, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to the Allahabad Music Conference. At the end of his recital, uh, Ustad Fayyaz Khan patted the young boy's back and said, "Work hard and you shall make it." With the opening of the All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah Khan got big break. He soon became an often heard Chennai play on radio. And when the date on which we had gotten the independence, 15 August 1947, he has written to our country by the help of Chennai in front of the audience and PM Jawaharlal Nehru. Uh, the Jawaharlal Nehru famous speech was tryst with destiny. Okay. Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Zahir Shah was so taken in by the maestro that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets and other souvenirs. The king of Afghanistan was not the only one to be fascinated with Bismillah Khan's music. Film director Vijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing the Bismillah Khan's play at the festival Gunjudi Shehnai. The film was a hit and one of the Bismillah Khan's compositions Dil Ka Khilona Toot Gaya turned out of the nationwide Chartbox means record weaker. Now we have a blockbuster also. Despite this huge success in the celluloid world, Bismillah Khan's ventures in the film were limited to Vijay Bhatt's गुंजोली शहनाई दिल का खिलौना टूट गया and Vikram Srivana's Kannada venture Sanadi Apnana. I just can't to come to terms with the artificiality and glamour of the film world. He says with emphasis. Awards and recognition came thick and fast. Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in the United States of America. He also took part in the World Exposition of Montreal, in the Cannes Art Festival, and the Osaka Trade Fair. So well, auditorium in Tehran was named after him. Tahar Monseque Ustad Bismillah Khan. National awards we all know Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, Bharat Ratna 2001 में मिला था. With the convocated award resting on the chest and the eyes glinting with rare happiness, he said, "All I would like to say is teach your children music. That is Hindustan's richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn our music." In spite of having traveled all over the world, thumbs up as he is profoundly called, is excitingly fond of Banaras and Dumnon, and they remain for him the most wonderful towns of the world. A student of his once wanted him to head a High School in USA, and the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of the Banaras by replicating the temple there. But Khan Sahib asked him if you can transfer the river Ganga as well. Later he remembered to have said that is why whenever I am in a foreign country, I keep burning to see Hindustan, while in Mumbai I think of only Banaras and the Holy Ganga, and while in Banaras I miss the uniqueness of the road. Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India. It is the one of the who effortlessly accepts the devout Muslim like him can very naturally play the Shehnai every morning at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. He was died at the date of 21st August 2006 at the age of the 90. He had been caught in some illness. Okay. So devout means believing strongly in a religion and obeying its laws and following its practices. I would like to say that this Bismillah Khan was belonging to Bihar, Chanakya belonged to Bihar, Ashoka belonged to Bihar, everyone means IAS, IPS also belong to the Bihar. Okay. So, when the person used to speak in the Bihari language, some people used to comment on their language. So, don't comment on their language because I also from Bihar. Okay. Hmm. God का भी पता था. Sita, Rukmini, they are from also Bihar. They have been gotten both in Bihar only. Hmm. हमें कहा जाता है कि हम डिस्क्रिमिनेट नहीं कर सकते हैं स्टेट के बेसिस पे. लोगों को ये भी कहने आता है कि तुम बिहारी हो ज़्यादा घमंड में मत आओ. तो घमंड में नहीं आ रहे हैं, हमें उसका शान है। ठीक है, तुम लोग करके दिखाओ, आईएएस आईपीएस बन के दिखाओ।